What is the basic process of composting?
Yeah, so composting, generally speaking, is the natural decomposition of organic matter, right? Um, it happens in nature all the time. It's really only where humans insert themselves that the need for composting emerges, right? We have too much organic waste in too small an area, and so humans learned from nature to do this thing called composting. So the way that we go about making compost is the way that we go about making compost. I say that just because over the years I've talked with hundreds of people who've been composting. They like to tell me longer than I've been alive. So there's lots of ways to do it. This is the way that we do it. So we have 3 parts carbon to 1 part nitrogen, and to translate that, it's like 3 parts wood chips or leaves to 1 part food scraps. We mix that and incorporate that into like a unified mass, and then we're making sure that that pile is not overly wet, so as to potentially drown the microorganisms that facilitate the decomposition process, or it similarly is not too dry so as to like leave these microorganisms or fungi thirsty and wanting. The last key ingredient is oxygen, and so we are constantly, or not constantly, but we are treating our piles based on temperature readings that we're taking throughout the compost pile. So as microbial and fungal decomposition is taking place, because you've created this happy environment for them of the appropriate ratios of carbon to nitrogen, that and managing moisture, which allows for the reproduction of microorganisms. Those microorganisms generate heat, begin metabolizing the organic matter in your food scraps, incorporating it with the carbon, and unlocking nutrients that are vital to plants. This creates a ton of heat. That heat helps to pasteurize and kill off any potential pathogens, weeds, or seeds, resulting in a material known as compost. And so over time that will cool off, and you're left with a microbial and fungal rich medium that you can plant directly in, use ornamentally, further screen to make like manufactured soils, which is what we do. Um, but um, but the beauty of this process is that, you know, the alternative, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but like the alternative is sending that to an environment that's the exact opposite, right? A landfill, where there's not oxygen, there's not appropriate microbes or fungi, there's not carbon to nitrogen ratios that are perfectly balanced, and as a result, it enters a anaerobic environment, one without oxygen, and as a result, it emits methane, and methane is a greenhouse gas that's exceedingly potent, and therefore a driver of global climate change. And so when you divert food from going to landfills, you prevent all of those emissions. But furthermore, you're creating a substrate in the form of soil that actually has the ability to sequester carbon. So not only are you doing something that is less bad, you're doing something that is measurably good, meaning you're increasing the carbon holding capacity of soil. And so there's lots of research out there that suggests that we may be able to slow or reverse climate change entirely simply by capturing carbon in the soil. And so we humbly are trying to do that in whatever small way we are, with the soils that we're making.